to bring joy, but the kind of joy that will make people think, not the one they will laugh and forget their destiny. The one after laughing, they go back and say, what am I here for? What can I change? Where can I take this nation forward? We are here not to be children, but to develop from childhood into adulthood, become sons of the kingdom, and take the gospel of the kingdom and make it practical in the marketplace, in our government, in the industry. I mean, if you look around here, you will see great men on the wall. And I expect that you and I, one day, will appear on the wall in someone else's future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, HMT students. And I hope you guys have heard it all. And we are so sorry for the audio problem we have, but that has been rectified. So I believe everything should be fine. So if nothing more, is everything okay? Is everything success? Everything is okay. Okay. Okay, so while we wait, okay, I think we're about to start. So we're about to start the first section, and our speaker is Pastor Bosse. So please let's stand up and put our hands together and welcome her. It looks good. Oh, the mic is it like upside down? Okay, I hope you okay. I'm fine. Good morning once again. Are you fine with English language? Yes, you perfect English? Awesome. I'm Bosse Adelaja. We're so blessed to have you here. It's a great decision you've made to be part of the history. You have to repeat this. Yes. So it's a great decision you've made. Self-improvement, knowing God, and trying to maximize yourself, your potential, and strengthen your influence, your presence in this world, in your world. So I think that's a good decision, and I pray that God will help you. I've seen some faces before. I think Sister Grace, right, from Ireland. And have you been here before? Yes. Please, what's the name? Christian. Nice. I'm not sure you've been here before. Right? You came from Canada, right? Yes. You were the one that was. And of course, our friend from France. So how far? How has it been? Awesome. So good so far? Okay, that's great. All right. Do you have, before we, actually I'm substituting for Pastor Sunday today, this morning, but before we start, the topic is still the same, yeah, keys to a transforming nation, yeah, national transformation. And before we start, do you have any questions for me? Anything you're interested in? You will need a mic, right? We should need one.
The short question is, how do we get to this position of authority in order for us to be effective and to bring about transformation Like, I'm not a politician, and how do I get there? Do I need to contest or whatsoever?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good question, but you said a short question, and the short answer is that you don't really need any position of authority to become a person of influence. You don't need to be the president. You don't need. That doesn't mean you may not, but you don't really need it. It doesn't start from there.
Why I said that is when talking about legislation, in order for people to be, righteous and things like that, I can't just go in and.
Also, you don't need to be a senator to do that. You just need to use your resources. You can start with an NGO, mobilizing people, building momentum for what you want to change. You can organize a march. You can start talking with some lobby group. You don't really need to be. It's good if you are there. And if you have a goal of becoming maybe a senator or having a position that will make it easier, it's also possible. You just have to you have to have a plan, maybe a 5-year plan or 3-year plan, and then if you still start with something small, you strengthen your presence, showcasing your results, because before people will vote for you, they must know you. You must be in a certain group. But the easiest way and the accessible way now is just to start from where you are, and then you can build momentum. You can, after some time, you can even be more influential than the people in position. That's the secret of what we are talking about. You don't really need position, to do what you want to do. You've already been appointed, and we have a higher appointment, and with God, and having the principles and knowing how to do it, you don't really need any position, because it starts like step by step, one by one, affecting a life at a time. Then after some time, God's willing, it might have a bigger influence. So that's what I would say. Would anybody like to add to that, answering that question? Can you take the mic? Yes.
I believe the answers are in DSA's book, and the church chief answers that question. So let us just be patient, and by the time you read it through, you will get yourself clear on that same question.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. The Kingdom Brings Alive is another book recommended. Okay. Any other questions? Do you have a question? I'll hold. Thank you. All right, still asking you questions. So do you have any question for me? Or concerning the topic, what's in your mind? What are you thinking about? Because this is not just a training where a person talks. It's an interaction. And I have to get you to interact. After her, then. I guess you have a question now.
Just
Okay, answer the question. That's
Yeah.
good. You may be seated
Okay.
if they are fine with it. Are you guys fine, or is better she stands up? Please stand.
I could see where she's coming from, and I understand all the books
that we have all suggested that she should read. But based on what we did yesterday, I was thinking as well, collectively, making an impact is what is an issue for me. Regarding different Christians having different ideas and different agenda as well. And if you are doing already individual projects and all sorts of things, trainings and all sorts of things, but still there's still a need. So to now make a global impact or working with a group of people, how do we convince others in the nutshell to actually see what we have seen?
Okay, I will start, then other people can add to it. First, I would say that we should be very careful in not limiting ourselves to working only with Christians. You know, we have to be wide, broad-minded. You know, we just have to frame the principles we'll be working with. Maybe love, maybe kindness. We have to be careful so that we don't bring religious controversies, even political controversies. We have to try to have a clean principle that will allow us to be able to work with anybody, even atheists. You know, as kingdom people, one of our goals should be getting the best from everybody. Getting the best from everybody. There are wonderful atheists that also believe in the principle of kindness, love. So we would now, while working with them, we capitalize on that. You know, the mistake or the former mindset, I'm referring to myself, and I think it's the same for many people, is this. The first question is, are you a Christian? You know, and if you're not a Christian, that shuts everything down. We're wearing like flexible enough, wearing creative enough. And Jesus also had that problem because I think the tax collectors were considered like not godly people, you know, in Jesus' setting. And he was often accused, why are you, for goodness sake? I mean, hanging around these people, eating with them, what business do you can't be a man of God, you can't be holy. In some places they would say, if he's a true prophet, he would know. And it's not that we don't know, but love comes above that, and you don't want to shut them down, and you want to work with them, show them acceptance. And I'm sure that some of those tax collectors, like Zacchaeus, later became followers of Jesus Christ. Yeah. Sometimes we try to, which has its place also, we try to overprotect ourselves. And also we have the Soviet government, they use that principle a lot, like protect yourself, you know, don't deal with the nitty-gritty, just protect yourself. So it's not a Christian, no business with him. But really we find out that it hasn't been possible for many years just to create a Christian community. Yes. We go to schools where we have Muslims, atheists as teachers. You know, we use public transportations. We don't even know who is the driver. You know, is he a Christian? And we don't ask those questions. We don't even know who designed the clothes we're wearing. So the forces against us just creating a Christian community is so huge and much, and nobody has been able to do that. You know, if you read God's General, they tried to create Hallelujah City, Hosanna Street, and that was just for a limited time. It didn't last forever. It's only the kingdom all-inclusive mentality. That's the only thing that will last. You know, that is important. So when you know that you don't need to limit yourself just to Christians. Everybody is created after God in God's image and in God's likeness. And, we have to, like, zoom, our camera, our focus to seeing God in them and trying to bring God out. We shouldn't be distracted by their sins, by their ignorance. We should be above that and try, to find the pearl in them, to find, the precious, the seed of God, and help them to find that out. And once we have that mentality, it will be easier for us. Then people will be having results. And once you have results, there's a way you find like-minded people. And when you have a goal, when you have a vision, you just share your vision with people. To this, do you want to come to our meeting? Do you want to, is there a way we can work together? You just, if something is burning in your heart, whatever you say, it will end with that passion that you have in your heart. So then with prayer, of course, and trusting God and working hard, and also God being on your side. And God is already on your side even before you started the project. Because all these things we are doing it not for ourselves. We won't be here forever, right? We are doing it for God. We are part of God's project. We are part of God's project for this time that we are alive. And God is interested in us, in his project, and he will help us. He will bring all the people we need to help us push the vision on. And even sometimes the vision will even increase after we have gone. Because he is the Lord of the harvest. He is the scene maker, the movie writer, the script writer. So once we understand that we are just a laborer in the vineyard, and God has also put other people in different areas. We can't do it on our own. God has also put people in different areas. So that will give us peace. That will help us to do our best, not to be limited, to be open-minded to the things of God. And with that, we will have a pure conscience with any result we have.
Thank you very much.
Because we will have different results. Excuse me. Okay, let's have her. Yeah, because ladies first. Then after her, you. Then after you. I'm happy that you are asking questions. I'm making progress. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I am Maxine Jacobs.
Yes.
And my, not really a question, is a contribution.
Oh, that's good.
Contribution is to say that only fortunately in November, the last week, 2017, I discovered DSA by someone sharing on Facebook with me.
The link.
Yes. And listening, I immediately felt like whatever was on me peeled off. So in addition to that, listening to DSA, he spoke about the book, point the books out, and the interest of also becoming a distributor. I did not hesitate. I got very excited because I know about how to relate to people a long time. I was called a missionary. I'm a soul winner, and I take that effort in myself to make the decision that I'm going to order 100 books. I order 100 books immediately. It's like DSA couldn't say it fast enough. I even forget that I'm in America and this is coming from Russia. I was keep looking in the mail and I keep sending the email and said, is the books on the way yet? And I consciously had to settle down and say, realize that it's not like when I do Amazon, it comes in 2 days.
Next day delivery.
Yes, and I was just on my toes, just waiting and waiting. And then I got in touch with the U.S. mail and checking, did you see this information? The number is so-and-so. And they said, no, we haven't seen it. And I'm like, where's these books? I was just so excited because I need to deposit these books in somebody's hand. This is nobody who give me money. I took my money from my pocket, with the intention that when I meet someone and I mention to them about not God but their life, as to say, expecting transformation. So I see someone, I have my book bag along with my other school book bag, and I take it around with me, and I see someone, and I would smile, and then I would go forward, and I would say, this man in Russia, my gosh, I'm so excited. The wall break down, and he made such a transformation, and that's my opening, because I'm so excited. And can you imagine, he couldn't read until he was 10 years old. And he's black. And I emphasize all that because I need the attention. I need him to see me and see the word that I'm talking about. And when I talk, they say I'm a troublemaker. I am a troublemaker for the truth. I can't fold myself under and pretend. I don't know how to pretend. I'm transparent, call it that. So coming to know about DSA, I'm on the wagon, raising the flag, and making the shout to let everyone know. So these books, I have been touching lives with them, and I'm planning, as I'm going back, I didn't carry much luggage, I'm planning to take back another set of books, because everyone, my husband say, why every time I'm, this voice in this house, I'm like, I go to bed, I'm in the kitchen, I'm in the bathroom, I'm everywhere, and if I don't see Paris, I see Paris, or Pearl, or Zoe. And you, because being here, I'm excited because you did the summer class with the young people, and I watched that program too from the YouTube. So it's like my life has been transformed, and it's like I'm so excited and overwhelmed that I want other people to touch what it is I'm touching with the excitement and the gusto. Thank you.
Is there another question you have? No. Okay.
Now, considering the fact that we have to work, considering the fact that we have to work with everybody, atheist, Muslim, and then, aren't we going to be careful in the choice of names? Apart from church, God never say anybody that hears that is a church. Like the freelance, the NGO, like I want to put Christ International something. Would that be suitable for an atheist? Wouldn't they be thinking, or for a Muslim?
Okay.
Do we have to consider the choice of names?
I will. Yeah, okay. All the answers are here.
Yeah, I think for me.
Come closer to get the camera, closer to me. Yeah.
Okay, I think for me,
Sorry.
I want to try and address some of the points that have been raised. And the first one, she talked about how to address the kind of like global influence and all that. It brings me back to the answer you gave to the question I asked during the first HMT. I will never forget that answer.
Okay, now tell us the question
Yeah.
and the answer.
My question was, when you talk about discovering purpose and fulfilling your dreams and doing great things for God, that how do you go about discovering it? Because it has always been my my dream, my concern, because a lot of religious leaders have different opinions on how to go about it. And the answer you gave to me was, you don't have to see the big picture before you take a step. You have a burden in your heart, just take a step. And as you take that step, God will begin to open doors, God will begin to lead you, and you begin to do things that you need to do. And if it's God's will to show you a vision or to give you like a dream, all at a go, and show you, okay, this is your future, as how your future will look like, fine. But we don't have to, because God has already sent us. He says we are ministers of reconciliation. He said, go into the world. So what other sending are we waiting for? So for me, like Pastor Sunday will always say, always think global, but start small. Start wherever you are. One person at a time. You don't need to know anybody. The next door neighbor, your friend at work. Just start there. You understand? I'll give you this like a testimony. After the last HMT, a lot of ideas came into my mind, and I started writing a lot of ideas back. Then I went back, and in a space of, I'll say 3 months, I'm already running with almost 10 projects at the same time. So one of the projects I started was a financial-based club. And how did I do it? I was just in my office, and we went for an office kind of gathering, and we started talking. So I discovered that some of the guys that were there, they had the same mindset that I had. Some were not Christians. One was a Muslim. I was a Christian. So we just started talking. I started talking. So after a while, I went back. I was sitting there in the office, and the thought just came to my mind. Why not turn this into, like, I don't know how to put it. I'll just call it a club, but it's a financial based club. So I said, okay, fine. So I just went to the guy and said, come, sat down, we just talked. And in the process of we talking, he discovered that, okay, I'm a Christian, he's a Muslim. He said, I never knew you were a Christian. I said, what do you mean by like that? He said, because most Christians I meet, oh God, they will just like slap you and bamboozle you with all the spiritual stuff in this world. I said, well, I'm not like that. I'm a different kind of person. Then I discovered he was a Muslim. I said, I never knew you were a Muslim also. But one thing led to another, which also led us to partner up with another project I was working on. And we started talking, and so in the course I said, okay, now that you've agreed to partner up with me to start this, can you tell me your reason why you decided to? And he went on, and in the process of saying, he now talked about a charity that he was already working on. He was feeding the homeless. And he's a Muslim. You understand? I now discover in the process that some of the kindest and the best set of people you work with are not Christians. They are people of other faiths. So when I now told him the project I was working on, he was the one saying, wow, I want to partner with you. Let's work together. Let me be the feeding arm of your organization. Because he just goes to the street, his wife and a couple of friends cook, go with a van and a table and feed the homeless. But mine, I was actually getting the people out of the streets. So he said, that's a wonderful idea. Let's partner together. Let me be the feeding arm of this thing. So what am I saying? Like our sister said yesterday, and I told her this morning, one thing I believe we need to do, which has really held us down, is to destroy the religious mindset that we have. It is, when I hear people talk this day, I can easily tell where they are coming from. When I hear questions, I can actually tell where the question is coming from. It is because we have been, what religion does, religion will just cage you. And because religion cages you, religion cages them, by the time both of you meet, you are not really interacting. It is your religion that is clashing. So one thing we should do is destroy the religious mindset. And one of the ways you can start doing that is to first of all start destroying the vocabulary, your religious vocabulary that we have built in the church. Like you go to somebody, like she was saying, you go to somebody and you start talking of sin. Who wants to hear sin? They'll tell you, who are you to judge me? That's the first thing they'll tell you. But if you go to them and tell them principles that we learned yesterday, that you need to be honest, you need to be a person of integrity, everybody relates to that. You understand? So that's one thing we should destroy, our religious mindset, and there are ways we can begin to do that. And going back to the influence, right? Like I said, you just start from wherever you are, right? You can have a plan of, okay, I want to make an impact, and I want 10,000 people, 100,000 people. Like DSA would tell us, you have a 10-year plan, and in 10 years you want to reach 100,000. That gives you an average of how many? 10,000 a year. So you say, okay, if it's 10,000 a year, how many months do you have in a year? 12 months. You divide 10,000 by 12. You say, okay, average of this number in a month. And you have 4 weeks in a month. Divide that number again by 4 and say, this is how many I can reach in a week. And that's okay, how many days do you have in a week? You cut it down, you have a target for yourself. Okay, I will talk to 2 people every day. And as you keep doing it step by step, you are aiming at your 10,000. But if you sit down and always think, oh, these people have reached 10,000, I also want to reach 10,000, you will sit down there for the rest of your life and you will not meet the 10,000. So it's all about the mindset. And that's one thing I believe that HMT is actually doing, is destroying the mindset we had in the past and actually helping us to build a new mindset.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Absolutely. So we can...
I don't know if I should just make my intervention now because it was about another topic.
No problem, just...
Okay. It's just what I realize, what we are doing here, something is very impressed me, is the amount of work. So I have just a question, simple question. It is, I mean, you pastor and all your team, your way of working daily, your way of working, like always have to read books, to do something, wake up early in the morning. I don't know if it's especially for HMT, because sometimes we could go to some conference and there is a specific training, and then maybe it's not the training of the daily life. So but when I read the book and when I talk with people, I see that it's not just for this time, but it's like a lifestyle. So
yeah,
it
is, but during HMT, it is intensified, right? During HMT, it is intensified because the goal is to, how do I say, to restructure you, to give you a model of how it should be for this limited time. Then if you get used to the HMT model, then you'll be able to structure your life in such a way, right, that it might not be 8 a.m. in the morning, but even if it starts for you at 10, you will get used to reading books all the time. You will get used to writing your thoughts all the time. You will get used to making conclusions about what you see, about what you hear. You will get used to touching your goals daily, and you will get used to fulfilling your goals all the time. It's intensified during HMT, but after HMT, I mean, everybody is busy because reading books daily is very, it's a good practice to become a developed person, to become a civilized person, and being a conscious man, knowing what you want from the day. I mean, not just playing around, but having a goal for the day and meeting it. Those are the things that helps us to maximize our time on earth. So everybody is busy here. Everybody is resourceful. Potentials are maximized. So when people come here, they are amazed at the amount of work that needs to be done. Yeah, they're just amazed. So if you want to learn how to work, if you want to learn how to develop yourself, you can come here for internship. You can come for a month. You can come for 3 months. You can come for 6 months. You can come for 1 year. Here you will learn to do almost everything. Yeah. So that's it. Okay. Yeah. This is the kingdom of God. Everybody is busy. Okay. Mr. Victor wanted to.
Let me. She's not here.
She's here.
Okay. Because it's for you, it's for me also. Now, thank you. I was saying you should read the book now. Okay. Now, most of what you ask as questions, I was able to decode them in the books. and that there are many things we've been doing that has really been hindering, just as you have said. Let me just come up with some little sentence. You see, if we withdraw, don't get it wrong. If we withdraw the word church and present the word kingdom, it settled the case. Now, it's more deeper. We are not saying we should withdraw the word church. Now, in the teaching, we were able to see that really the church is us. So if I'm the church, from the Hebrew, setting, if I'm the church, why will I be presenting myself again to somebody? Or, forcing people with that same myself. So, but if we talk about the kingdom, which John the Baptist came to the world to preach, which Jesus himself came to the world to preach, it makes it easier. Now, the book of John, chapter 14, verse 6, was talking about that he is the way, the truth, and life, that no man cometh unto the Father except by him. Meaning that all this church of a thing now is only for one goal, to make heaven, which has always been what we grew up with, and that it has really debarred us from ruling the earth. Now, where it separates now is the introduction of the kingdom. If we bring in the kingdom, we'll be able to see that we have responsibility. Between now and the day you'll be going to that heaven, you have a lot of work to be done. So it's better we focus on how to rule the earth while on the earth. So between now and then, I must make sure that I understand the principles of the kingdom and work them out. Now, I can also say in another sentence that inviting an unbeliever to a dinner will be more easier than inviting an unbeliever to my church. Now, I'm still trying to break it down. It will be more easier. Now, coming back to your first question, calling. After leaving my first setting, now in my own ministry, I was asking myself that question, that what now should I do? And there was this area of, should I go from the top? Now, I came to know that there is an ABC in calling, very simple, that we don't need to break our head. If one will really go into the short shift, in the short shift, I was able to see that, look, just start from the bottom. If it will be from the bottom, there are a lot of things that we love to do. There are things you love to do, which I love to do. We shouldn't be searching for something there or something or copied from somebody. Now, I cannot say I want something of DSA. DSA is on its own. He is operating in his own field. So, and he also made mention of we limiting. That is the era of the church. I mean the setting to the fivefold ministries, which has been an error. So if we take it further, we will see that everybody has been called. Everybody can do something in the kingdom of God. And that if that is the case, there are a lot of things that I individually find joy in doing. So that took me back to those days when I was, because it was a ministry, and that many of our sisters, from Benin, that were in Paris then, engaged in prostitution. We were the one, myself and my wife, that was always on the street to get them out of it. We were able to rehabilitate many of them. We were able to negotiate the payment, setting them free from the hand of their madams. We were able to get many of them out of Paris to destinations which their madam could. I'm talking about more than 15 years ago. Now that I'm in my own thing, what will I do? That was the question. And it was just clear that why can't you go back to that thing which you were just doing then? And we went out, let me end it this way. We went out during Christmas, and while many were marrying and celebrating, we were on the street there. And we were on the street with these brethren who came through the Mediterranean Sea, couldn't settle down in Italy, all came to Paris, finding one way or the other to go down to Britain, but were stagnant in Paris, and there was no solution. They were on the street 24 hours to 24 hours, and we all went out. We were few, but we were able to bless them. Answer, it was as simple as ABC. And if one can continue, I'm talking about reaching out. We didn't go out and we're flying banner of the name of one church. We were meeting Hindus. We were meeting, there wasn't anything of, and the whole goal is not even, please, at the end of the day, because I was having members, workers in the church that were telling me, Pastor, we didn't give them the address of the church. I said, we didn't come here for church. So we're still on it, trying to teach them that, look, this is not that you used to know. Let me stop.
Very good. Thank you all for the contribution. I want to say this. I want to first that we should keep on encouraging people asking questions, because we are on different levels. Yeah, so we should try to refrain from contributions like, oh, this question, because even if we know the answer, repetition is still the mother of what? Learning. Yeah, so even hearing the answer to what we knew already, because, I mean, people are on different levels, so we should encourage question asking. We should just say, oh, I know the answer to that, let me tell you, things like that, because that will create a very good learning environment. The second thing I wanted to say is, when you broke down, how to reach your goal, then you broke it down to how many people you should reach daily. I would like to remind you that it's very important to be constant, in what you do. It's what you do constantly that gives you results, not one today, then after a month, after 6 months. We get great results on the things we work on daily, or maybe twice a week or once a week. Building system, that's really what gives us results. And now to answer your question about the choice of name. Yes, yeah, the choice of name. During the anniversary, I think it was on the first day. I'm not sure if you were there. We had a presentation from the jurisdiction arm of the church. The lawyers. You weren't there, right? Yeah. Who was there? You saw it. So the person in charge was saying that the Lawyer Association of the Embassy of God is called in the world the Association of Lawyers in the world. So he say what we do in the church that we call the Lawyers Association of the Embassy of God Church, but in the world it's just called the Association of Lawyers. Yeah. So the same thing, because they are about like giving free consultation to needy people. They do it for the members of the church. They do it for anybody. They use it to advertise their presence, what they do. But with time, we can choose a neutral name. A neutral name, like, for example, like the Lawyer Association of Ukraine. Why can't that be a ministry in the church? So just have one name that is all, encompassing, inclusive, that anybody can relate to it. Yeah, because if we make it a Christian Association of Lawyers, of course, some Muslims will not feel good to be associated to that. So, and that's what we are talking about. The more we know, the better we choose the name, of our association. So that is if you need to choose a new name. Otherwise, we can always call this one thing in the church, then outside the church, call it another thing. Yeah. The most important thing is for us to know our target group. Who are the people we are targeting, and make everything conducive for those people we are targeting, not conducive just for us, because that's a mistake we make sometimes. But when you want to catch fish, you is it the bait for the fish? Yeah.
is like, I think they use worm, sometimes to catch fish, but we don't eat worms, right? But you don't say, oh, I don't eat worms, I don't want to put worms. No, it's because of your goal, because of what you want, because of the people you want to catch. Then you have to do what will be compelling to them, what will be appealing to them. So that would be the secret. Okay, we are having problem with the slides, right? With the projector. Okay, there's always a way out. Yeah, no. There's always a way out. Okay, so the topic, of course, the general topic is national transformation, how to build a developed and civilized nation. But the topic I want us to examine today is becoming a developed and civilized personality. Becoming a developed and civilized personality. Becoming a civilized personality. Well, the focus is on the church, on the nation. Yeah, the focus is on the nation. But nations are made up of people. We are the people. We are the people that make up the nation. So our quality, how developed we are, how civilized we are, it's what we will have as a nation. So I have, unfortunately, we don't have the slides, but life goes on, right? So I have some definition of development. When we study definitions, it helps us to deep digger and to understand the words better. So for development, we have words like evolution, evolution. We have words like growth, maturing. I'll try to be slow for those who are making notes. Although you can later watch it on YouTube, it's all over. Yeah. Excuse me. So evolution, something coming out of something. Growth, we all understand growth. Growth is necessary. Maturing, maturity is very important. Expansion. So becoming a matured person, becoming an expanding personality, enlargement, maximizing, improving, increasing what you have. You still look the same outwardly, physically, yeah, we stop growing, yeah, but in other areas, the sky is the limit to our growth and to our development. Spread. In Christianity, we have this was spreading the gospel. Yeah. So also spreading ourselves, spreading the principle, spreading our calling, is part of becoming a developed person. Progress, making progress, always making progress. Each year we are alive, we should be making progress. Success is also the synonym of development. Blossoming. It's springtime now. We're expecting some blossoming. Yeah. Blooming. Also, development is defined as the process. You see, development is a process. Almost everything in this life is a process. Yeah. So the process of growing or changing and becoming more advanced. So, becoming a developed personality. Essentially, working on the process, working on myself, right? Is the process of growing or changing. We have to change the old mindset, right? We have to change the things that are not in line with where we are going. We have to, change means leave some things behind and acquire other things, So the process of growing or changing and becoming more advanced. Development is also defined
as an event constituting a new stage in a changing situation. An event, like an HMT, right? Constituting a new stage in a changing situation. And our world is a changing situation. We will never come to a place of equilibrium. It's always changing. God wants us to always be changing, to always be on the move, to always be thinking, to always be creative. And the last definition I have for development here is the process of creating something such as a new product or service. The process of creating something such as a new product or service. And this reminds me about our creative power, our creative ability that we get from God. Because God, our Father, is a creator. So we have the seed of a creator in us. And we are created in his likeness, in his image, and we can also create. We can also, not like God, of course, we cannot create our own heaven, we can create our own heaven, our own heart, but not the one we see, right? God is always supreme. But in our frame, in our world, we can also create. So, and it's part of the development, and it's part of becoming a developed personality. Improvement of a skill. So those are examples of the new product or service that we can produce. Improvement of a skill. So having a skill is not even enough. It has to be always improved. And our time, the generation we live in, proves that. New application all the time, updated application all the time. The season we live in, it's not even allowing you to be at rest. Everything is changing, new things. So we have to apply that to ourselves, to be sure that we are not stagnant, to be sure that, of course, we need to have balance and not just be running and be changing every minute before we get time to really understand the change that is taking place. But we have to be assessing ourselves maybe monthly, maybe quarterly, yearly, to see how we are improving, even on the skills that we have, our ability and our quality. Those are I ended up with 2 microphones. Yeah, let me give you one. So I want to hear from you, from those definitions of development. What did you get? Maybe while I was saying something, maybe you got a picture, maybe you got a better understanding, maybe you got another word, for development. So who has something to contribute to just that small part of the training development? Okay. Can we have the microphone now? I think it should just be on that table, right? Yes. Then anybody who needs it will just take it. Please come here for the video. Thank you.
To be current and relevant to your community.
Wow.
At a particular time, no matter your age.
Yeah.
Whether you need to go and learn or grab my little girl over there to say, you will not sleep if you don't show me what to do. Yeah, it's really a pain for me because I think I've found that a lot of us are bombarded with information and we are thinking, where do I start? I can't catch up with them. I can't do Instagram. I can't do this. But we should just take our time. Just talking to the older people out there. We should just take our time. Younger generation are our friends. They will teach us whatever we want. Praise God.
That's good. That's good. Any other idea about development? Yes, please, can you take the mic?
it's just telling us that we are something less. We have something in our hands to improve on, and that is what God has given us. Like the pastor was talking about the hands of Jesus yesterday, pricked with, nails, so that the labor of our hands can be blessed.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Okay, I think we can. Do you want to add to that? Okay, everybody, anybody? Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. Yeah. I'm reminding you that the topic is becoming a developed and civilized personality. It's in the line of nation building and telling us that no nation can be built without people. And the kind of nations we have symbolizes the kind of people in the nation, right? If you have a larger amount of developed and civilized people in a community, in a nation, then we get a developed and civilized nation. Yeah. If a lesser percentage of people are undeveloped, uncivilized, then we get an undeveloped and uncivilized nation. So it's, sometimes when you tell people that, like, the third world countries are underdeveloped and they are not civilized, some developed and civilized people, they get offended, which say Nigeria is a bad country or Nigeria is not this. Some people get annoyed. Yeah. So when you say a country is not developed or it's not civilized, it doesn't mean there is nobody. Yeah, there is nobody that is developed or there is nobody that is civilized. No, it just means that you have a lesser percentage of developed and civilized people. That the uncivilized, the undeveloped, overrun the civilized people. Yeah. And a developed person understands that. Yeah. Understand that, yeah, maybe you are developed, maybe you are civilized, but the number is still small and there is still a lot of work to do. Okay. Let's define not civilization, but let's define what it is to be civilized. Yeah. So a civilized person is polite. A civilized person is polite, reasonable. Reasonable comes from the ability to think, not just to think. I believe everybody thinks, but reasonable comes from thinking well, weighing all the pros and cons, and coming out with a good thought and a better decision in the situation you are. So reasonable, able to reason. A civilized person is respectful. Remember, we are talking about ourselves, but still having the nation in the background, right? Still having the nation in the background. So we want a polite nation. We want a reasonable nation. We want a respectful nation, where it starts from us, right? So a civilized person is a polite, reasonable, respectful, and courteous person, well-mannered, well-behaved. A civilized group of people is characterized by being socially and technologically advanced. Yeah. Advanced. Moving forward, comfortable, having a highly developed society and culture. Every nation, they have a society. Like, let's say, I'm not a Nigerian specialist. I'm not Nigeria history, Nigeria politics is not my best side, right? Yeah, but in Nigeria we have land, we have space, we have society, we have people, and we have culture. And almost every nation, almost every group of people, they have that. But being civilized is having a developed society. We know that we have land, we know that we have space, but it hasn't been developed. We know that we have culture, we have our culture, but unfortunately, it hasn't been highly developed. It's to some extent raw. You know, we have it. Everybody, we have it. It's not that we don't have it. We have it. But it hasn't been worked on. The price has not been paid. Because when we are talking about development, when we are talking about civilization, these things, they don't happen automatically. You know, the price has to be paid. The price of time, the price of hard work, the price of faith. And I'm not talking about faith in God in this, just believing patriotism, you know, just believing that it can work, it is possible, and things like that. Yeah. Also, being civilized means showing evidence of moral and intellectual advancement. Showing evidence of moral and intellectual advancement. And when I think it was Brother Chris that was talking about that there are some unbelievers that have good principles. They live by good principles. Yeah, because one thing I've noticed in life is that everything in us is in one system. Yeah, we have different areas, and hopefully we'll get there today. We have different areas, different sphere of life, but they are all in one system. So if somebody starts developing himself in one area, it will affect the other area. Even if it, let's say, intellectually development, right? Having to go to school, that area, although you are going there for academics, yeah, but it will also affect you morally to some extent. Yeah, because it will give you some ethics, it will give you some moral, you know, some emotional intelligence, you know, some moral intelligence, because it is all in one system. Because I, that I'm going to the school for academics, you know, I still relate to people, right? I still have other area, and it is me. And if all these things are not in agreement, at least to some extent, it will create such a confusion in me that I won't be able to be the best person I should be. So we live in one system. So if somebody starts developing himself socially, you will understand, you will notice that also spiritually, the person will be developing. No, yeah, not a Christian. Yeah, not a Christian, but they will start, because all these things are connected. And that is why even sometimes you see it in the words lexicon, they call like social things spiritual, you know, because all these things are connected. And when you start learning about social intelligence, you find out that you are also treating emotion. You are getting better in your emotions. All these things are connected because they are all from God. They are all from God. So development and civilization, they are also interconnected. So showing evidence of moral and intellectual advancement. Also, another definition for being civilized here is marked by refinement in taste and manners. Just like I said, refinement, work done, make better, a better version in taste, a better version in manner, being cultured. Also, another definition is this: marked by well-organized law and rules about how people behave with each other. I think the last, I might be wrong, but I'm sure somebody will help me out. I think the last HMT was about law and order. Yeah, about law and order. So it's still in the line of being developed, a developed person, a civilized person will be more willing, to obey the law than an undeveloped and uncivilized person. An undeveloped person, an uncivilized, what are these all about? Because the undeveloped person is just raw. He wants to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. He doesn't put people into consideration. It's all about him. It's my life. I don't care. Yeah. But a developed person, a civilized person, he understands that he's not alone on this earth, that he needs other people, that it takes more than one person to create a good environment. So he loves the law. He wants to obey the rules because he gains from obeying the rules. He gets more peace, he gets more security from obeying the rules, and it's only through law and order that we can create a safe environment, that we can create a developed environment, and that we can create a civilized environment. So, and of course today, now in my session, I'm emphasizing on the importance of this starting with me, right? This starting with us. A civilized society responds to crime with fairness and justice. Yeah. A civilized society responds to crime with fairness and justice. Yeah. Fairness and justice, even in law, even in criminology, is very important. And the last definition I have here is showing concern for what is correct according to social rules. Showing concern for what is correct according to social rules. I can't remember if it was also during the last HMT or it was just in one of Pastor Sunday's program where he was commenting on the way crimes are handled in Nigeria. He uses Nigeria as a study case a lot. Yeah, the way crimes are handled for example, in Nigeria, is either crimes are not responded to, in the sense that some people involved in corruption can get by with it, right? So on one hand, justice is not being pursued, whereas on the other hand, a person caught on the street, trying to steal a plantain or trying to steal an orange. It's just like the parable of the unforgiving servants, This man had a debt, the king forgave him, and it was a big debt, right? And coming out of that, he saw his friend that owed him just, a penny. Yeah, so I think it's just like the same situation because in my understanding, we have people, who are embezzling, who are in big corruption schemes, and they go by with it. And then you find somebody trying to steal 500 naira, $1, $2, and then you just set him ablaze. So, no fairness in crime. And this is just because we are undeveloped. This is just because we are unable to separate the crime from the offender. And this is because we are late to see God's image and God's kindness in people. It is the sin. It is the bad stuff that we see first. Our sight, our vision, they don't go deeper. They don't see the bottom. They just see the surface. They just see the periphery, and we treat people with that. Okay, so we are going to stop again. We are going to interact. So from the definition, all these definitions are on the internet, by the way. Yeah. So from the definition of being civilized. So what came to your mind when, we're talking about this being civilized? What picture? Maybe you remembered something in your setting. Oh, good. The mic is here. You don't mind coming in?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
While you were talking, I just remembered the situation of when I just got to Canada, and if time you enter the bus, and when people are trying to leave the bus, the driver is in front, the person is at the back, and he's saying thank you. I was like, thank you to who? This driver is getting a salary. His job is to drive me. I've paid my bus fare. So, and sometimes the driver doesn't even answer them, but they won't stop. They just keep saying thank you. The person is coming down at the back. He will look at the front, thank you. I'll look at the driver. He doesn't even look at him, and he will go out. The next person saw that the driver didn't answer. He will say thank you again. I was like, what's going on? I couldn't understand it because the guy is doing his job. So why am I supposed to thank you? You are supposed to thank me. At least my paying my money pays your salary, So, but I'm beginning to realize that thank you for at least taking me to my destination safely. Thank you for at least doing your job properly. Thank you for taking us from one location to another location, and you did not throw us in the gutter. Thank you for doing your job properly.
Doing your part.
Doing your part. So, those are concepts, maybe because I grew all my life in Nigeria, but those are concepts that we don't understand, They're kind of more aggressive. Do your job and get out of the way. I do my job and leave. Or I don't even want to do my job. You must induce me to do my job. You have to give me something. So I am beginning to learn. I'm beginning to get purged of some of those uncivilized way of thinking. They are getting out of me, It's kind of difficult to say it openly, but it's amazing. And apart from that, I'm learning the way people are cautious. You open the door, you are going out of a place, and you open the door, and when you open the door, you have to wait for the other person to pass. And while the person is passing, you want to close the door, somebody else passes again. So you are just there, and you are looking at...
Like a janitor.
Yeah, you're waiting, and you're passing. And I observe people do it. And each person that passes, you give the person a smile. I have the door open, but I have to smile to you, So, but I'm learning. It's a way of life. It's a culture. From back home, we don't do that. You open the door, and you are off. Anybody that wants to pass through the door has hands to open the door.
Even if it's an elderly person, a lady, it doesn't matter. Undevelopment and uncivilization focuses on you. It's me. Me. After me, let there be a flood, right? Yeah, but it's me. Whereas being developed and civilized brings the awareness that you are not alone. Well, I have to ask you for forgiveness. Why? Because I will ask you to read this. Can you read this?
From the beginning?
Yeah, from here to here. It's
Definition of civilized. Okay. A civilized person is polite, reasonable, respectful, and cautious. He knows how to say please and thank you.
I had that in the definition, but I was not really embarrassed, and I was thinking, will I be telling you that a civilized person knows how to say please and thank you? I just saw that too basic, that please and thank you. What does it's like, it comes just on its own. But I must really thank you, for contributing. And I didn't even know that, it's as bad like that. I didn't know. Yeah, because please, you are saying please and thank you, not to that person. You need it yourself. It's for you. It's part of your development. It's part of, when you thank other people, that is when you how do I say it? The Bible says it's more blessed to give. Why? Because when you are giving, you have an emotion of a joy, positive emotion comes to you. And you feel it more. You know, like Nigeria, I'm so sorry that we're using Nigeria a lot. Some people already like, pardon me? You're going to use the French. Okay. Yeah. You know, but we are Nigerian. I mean, I'm a Nigerian. At least I have a right to that. You know, people are happy when they get something from you. But if you notice, that happiness is short. I mean, it's like it's volatile. And then they go to another person, they go to another person, they go to another person, because it's not satisfying. But when you give, you find out that you are a better person. You find out that you have less grip on money, on physical things. It does something to you. It is to you, it does. And if you remember this, what's his name, Michael Jackson song, he said, we are saving our own life, you know, when we give. You know, these things are deep, and everybody, you have to experience it. You have to experience it. So when you say please, you know, some people say, like the arrogant nature, you know, of our culture. Why should I say please? But the please is for you. The please is suiting you. Although it does something to the other person, right? Because it's a social role and it's a positive word. But you get more from it. So when we say please, just like you said, the driver doesn't even answer. Yeah. But the nation needs it. The environment needs it. The environment needs to be fed with please, with thank you. The land needs it. You know, we are more than the people. The land, the air, all the things around us. It's like, you know, it's like singing praises to God. You know, we need it. It needs to be like, it's like when you are spicing, you know, fish or meat. They have to get inside. So our environment, our homes should be filled, you know, with politeness. Please, thank you. You know, they create an atmosphere, and then we live in that atmosphere. But when we think the please is for the other person, when we think the thank you is for the other person, and since we are undeveloped and civilized and we're only concerned about ourselves, so we don't give please cheerfully, you know. We hoard our please, we hoard our thank you, and we are really doing a disservice to ourselves. So I should really thank you, because I omitted that I was thinking, do I need to now be telling people that thank you, please, is part of civilization also?
Yeah, it's, and I also think part of it is, you know, growing up in that culture, you know, as a child, when growing up and I don't know if we know Mulwe. I've been thrown out of the bus so many times by the conductor. Come down, let the bus stop so that I can get down. The bus is not stopping. Get out of the bus, and pushes me out. So I've fallen out of the Mulwe several times. A policeman has slapped me once. I was hanging on the bus and the door. And that's how we go, because there's no space and I have to get to my. So I was hanging, and while the bus was moving, he jumped and he was hanging, and he told me to go out. I was like, but I can't go out, the bus is moving. So he slapped me while we were moving. So while he slapped me, I held his clothes because I was about falling, you know. So they had to
both
tell
of
me,
you
they were shouting on the bus to stop that, because I was hanging on his uniform, and immediately the bus stopped. Oh God, the beating was terrible. It was like I ruffled his clothes. I was like, you slapped me. Why would you slap me? So people around me tell me, he's a policeman, don't talk, just keep quiet, you know. Keep quiet. Masoro, that's as in Yoruba. Masoro, you know, so I've been slapped times with that number. I've been thrown out of the bus as a child. So getting to the bus and in Canada and someone is saying thank you, I was like, really? Thank you? You know, so it's just I believed I was civilized. I grew up in a home where my parents were very cultured. No abusive words. Thank you. But you live in a society that is fighting, sucking the life.
Yeah,
and the goodness
it's
out of
devoid
it.
of that. It's not enough. That's what I said, that our hair, our environment lacks it. Not enough places, not enough thank you, not enough good word. And that affects everybody.
Like if I was to tell, I can imagine telling a conductor in Lagos, thank you. His reaction is to abuse me. Because to him, that's a cost. Why are you thanking me? Thanking me for what? I know this is wrong to say on air. He just say he will say we're near. As in, get out from the bus. As in, can call you a madman just for saying thank you, because we don't understand the concept. Why are you thanking me? For what? Get out and let me get another. There are passengers that want to enter the
Don't
bus.
waste my
You are
time.
wasting my time telling me thank you. You know, so I'm beginning to learn. I believe I also go back to Nigeria. It's just also sometimes I don't. Where do we start from? Where? Because it's overwhelming, but I know just start in your own
It will
corner.
start from me.
Start from me.
With
Start
me.
from my children,
Yeah.
my wife, my family, my surrounding. Leave God that sees the big picture to set other things in place. But just start from your environment. Then also, pertaining to what you said the other time, I had always believed that development should be, the Bible says that if you pray in the Spirit, there's a scripture in James about praying in the Spirit and you develop your spirit. So development to me has always been pray 6 hours, praying in tongues, jack Bible, kabash.
Yeah,
Lord.
that's spiritual
That's
development.
very, but because I believed in, heaven and only spiritual, any other development is just to make more money at work. So, but I'm beginning to see now that development is not just your spirit, your mind too needs to be
Absolutely.
developed. And your mind is not only developed by the Bible. There are things that have been downloaded to people.
Absolutely.
The inventions of Isaac Newton did not come from the devil, they came from God. The inventions of other great men came from God. Do yourself a service and just learn. Fill your mind so that when you are talking to people, you are giving them substance. You are not just empty.
Yeah.
So,
Processed substance, refined substance.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah, take it back.
Any other comment? Who wanted to?
Because it's not only limited to the Nigerians. When we look at the definition which you shared with us earlier on, I picked up something, and it's the word refuse to be stagnant. So if it is the word refuse to be stagnant, the picture I got was a dustbin or a stagnant water. And anything stagnant will automatically attract diseases. We attract insects. We attract different kinds of things. So developing is not only, shouldn't be limited to Africa. I know we've been sharing that of Nigeria. Why? That is the one we know. But we in abroad, by the grace of the Lord, we've been able to see other things. They've been able to, conquer some, and they've moved forward. But still, when you look at them, they also have some limitations. They have some other things which needs to be worked on. Now, like France, if I will use France, je ne sais pas si vous l'avez remarqué, the French doesn't have an equivalent of the word sorry, because we've been talking about please, please, please. What about even stepping on the toes of somebody? And we are often quick. The courteous, the English, we always are quick saying the word sorry. Oh, sorry. If mistakenly you step on somebody's toes while in the bus or while walking on the street. Now, the French that I know, ils vont marcher sur toi. Le mot, c'est souvent le mot pardon. Ce n'est pas équivalent. Ça porte pas vraiment ce qu'il faut. Ça c'est si vraiment des gens veulent le dire. On ne l'entend pas souvent. Mais c'est seulement le mot pardon qu'on nous dit. It is always the word pardon. Pardon doesn't carry the real meaning of sorry. Now, when I came to France, these were the first thing I noticed. And that oftentimes, they will just look back. They will just look at you. And they will be waiting for you to talk. They were the one that wronged you, not intentionally, but without knowing. But they will be looking at you. That is the French. So it got to a time that I was saying, but don't you say sorry here? Now, c'était après des années que j'ai appris vraiment que c'est là, le mot désolé, elle manque. Ils n'ont pas ce vocable dans leur grammaire. The word sorry doesn't exist in their dictionary. Now, when I started saying, whenever I tell people, look at me, whenever I now tell them, désolé, they find it bizarre, meaning strange. That, okay, I stepped on them mistakenly, and I'm saying désolé. So, in other words, they expect me to do the same thing they were doing, in that I will just be watching. Now, it doesn't stop there. I said I'm encouraging Nigerians to tell you that it's not only limited, because if the title is to be well understood, it is not only Tanzanians, Kenyans, Nigerians that needs to be civilized. It is the whole world. Yeah. Only that some are more better, they have arrived a better position than, and this is often what we Nigerians see here. I mean, we call the JJC, that we see there, and we are amazed, and we now look back and say maybe their own is better. No, they also have their weakness. There is also this driving. If you can drive in Nigeria, you can drive in France. You know how dangerous driving in Nigeria is. French are the worst driver. Les Français sont les plus pires de tous les conducteurs en Europe. Whenever I go to London, the last experience, in fact, the policeman he warned me. He said, man, we know you are a French. The next time, we will tear your driving license. We will tear it. So while driving from afar, he knew that already the side driving shows. But it wasn't only that. It's well known there in Britain that we French, whenever we come down to Britain, we drive recklessly. So in France, you can just drive, and the solution the government has been trying to put in place has never resolved the matter. And the whole problem comes from this area of respecting one another. The pedestrian things are there. Nobody obeys it. So the light is there. And all these things, they all still have to come to develop. I mean, learning the same definition. Because if I honor the pedestrian, if I respect him, if I respect her, I won't just drive like that. So everybody has his own weakness, and we all have something that we need to work on. Now, let me ask a question, ma'am. The question, maybe it will help us more, is that how do we now relate the one we received from our parents? Because our parents, I don't know about you, they did wonderfully. But later we met another world, just like my brother said, another world. But how do we relate it to the one, we have today? Because later on we have to leave home and now go somewhere else. So how do we relate all the teachings concerning this developing, living a civilized life? How do we relate it with the little they gave to us?
Just have it. Okay. I think I would, just give it to anybody. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question, because that's why we're here. That's the topic we are treating now. I think we can relate this if we live by principle. There is something we call public opinion. There's something we call moral courage. So if we live by principle and you live only one life, like what we are taught at home, for those who were taught at home, then you, like my brother was saying, that in Nigeria, if I tell the driver, thank you, it will call me a foolish man. But still do it. That's how we change. You know, when we bring a change to the society, people will start laughing at us. But that's just the initial stage. We have to go through that stage. But if we are consistent, then we'll give people the opportunity to start thinking. Because people laughing at us is a test. Because people with low self-esteem, people who are not sure about their calling or about the change they want to make, they will say, oh, I won't do that again because somebody is laughing at me. So, but our calling and our conviction should be stronger than somebody laughing at us. Jesus was also laughed at, but he knew what he was doing. He knew where, he was going. So if we can't get past the ridicule, what kind of leaders are we? And what kind of transformation are we talking about? So we have to make sure that we are the same everywhere. We have to make sure that we are refusing the spirit of the land. And what I mean by the spirit of the land, the negative side. We take the good and we refuse the bad. And we showcase the good. So if we know that it's okay, it is good that our land needs thank you, please, sorry, we say it just as we say it at home. We shouldn't feel embarrassed. There are some people, they will praise the Lord in the church, they will speak boldly in the church, but as soon as they leave the church, they become intimidated in the society. Some of them can still be themselves when evangelizing. Why? Because they have trained themselves for that. They've been taught that it is your responsibility. So they have been programmed for that. But then any other thing, because they have not thought it through, they have not planned it. So if every Christian or every history maker would just be ourselves everywhere we are, then the change will start. Little by little, because people need to know that we are serious, we are sure. So if you do it all the time, then other people will start asking you, why are you saying that? Which is a very great opportunity now to explain to people that I'm sowing a seed in the land. And if you remember Mother Teresa's quote, unfortunately, I can't quote it exactly, but it is something like this, that if you are doing good, people will accuse you of having your own ulterior motive, but keep doing good. So I maybe somebody can find it on the internet. It's a popular quote of Mother Teresa. But it said, keep doing what you need to do. Keep doing what you know to do. Because those are the things that will change. Jesus didn't stop. And then he was able to have a result. If we know that we have a superior kingdom, if we know that we have a superior culture, why should we stop? Why should we be intimidated by what people will say? If something is bad, we say it in a polite way. No? If somebody is littering, we tell the person, it's not good to litter. Can you please pick it? Okay. If the person doesn't pick it, you pick it. You pick it. And that is not in vain. Because other people will see it and it will set them thinking. So you don't need to fight. You just say, oh, excuse me, sir, could you please, you just litter this place. Kindly pick it. Then the substance will come out. If it's a caution, oh, sorry, oh, thank you. Then if it's another person, who are you to tell me what to do? Okay. All right. Littering is bad, not only for you, but for everybody. But I understand that you don't understand. So I will pick it for you. And that's a practical example. The servant leadership. And people will remember it. You won't even know the people you've affected. Because we need example. We have too much talk. Too much talk. Everybody knows how to do it. But when it comes to, folding our sleeves and start doing something or showing example, that's where we are lacking. So you pick it. Next time another person later you say, no, this is not good for our environment. Do you mind picking it? The person will say, no, I'm not picking. You pick it. Then after some time, people will start getting it. That might even give you an idea to start thinking of, okay, maybe I should start an NGO or find an influential NGO and share my burden about littering. Because it's not all the time you have to start your own. You may need to join an influential one to learn how to do it and, to use their influence, their capacity to get things. And I said, this bothers me. Is there anything we can do about it? Is there a fine, a law? And you just share your example. You take the picture. Now you can video. You can ask, can you just video me how I'm going to do this, or my conversation with this man, because we're a movement. After sometimes with your NGO, maybe with some identity, another person will ask you, what right do you have me? We're a movement against this and this. Again, you pick it, but you won't have to pick it forever. After sometimes you will find like-minded people in the bus. If in the bus or in any setting you find yourself, you start people defending you. Say, yeah, this person is right. You will get out of the picture. They will be fighting one another. Then you will be telling, no, that's not my purpose. That's not the aim. This is our country. We have to. Our country consists of how we treat it. Spitting anywhere on the street it also shows our relationship to the land. If the land is, because the kingdom, the gospel of the kingdom does not focus only on the man. It also focuses on everything around the man. The sea, the land, the air, Because littering, it's like, how do I say, abusing your land. Just spitting anywhere or urinating anywhere is abusing your land. And then thorns, and I'm talking like metaphor now, we start coming from there. So the way you treat it matters. And it also shows how developed, how civilized you are. So it's very important. Yes, sir. Yeah, you found it. Yes, you can. No. Take the mic. Can you take the mic? And come here. Yeah. Please. That quote helps us not to. No, not that one. Yeah, not that one. Let's check your own.
People are reasonable and self-centered.
Yeah. Read it for us.
All right.
It's a long one.
Yes. Okay. People are often unreasonable.
Can you put the mic closer to
Okay.
you?
People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motive. Be kind anyway. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it is between you and God.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you very much. So quotes like that should help us to be persistent, know what we want, showcase what we want. Of course, people will be rude. Change is tough. Nobody likes change. I don't like it. It's not that I understand it now, so it's like I like it, right? But if I relax a little bit, I also don't like it, Yeah. But I know that if I go through it, I will become a better person. I will have a better life. And that's why I embrace it. But under normal condition, nobody likes it. So the person that has been living in one culture, that has been littering for 20, 30 years, and you coming from nowhere and saying we have to keep our country clean. What are you talking about? You know, who are you? More so if you are younger in age. I mean, in an African setting, it's like that's the end of your life. But then you have to be persistent. You have to know why you are doing it. And that's why you are polite, and that's why you will pick it after him. You know, it requires servant leadership. Jesus washing the disciples' feet, you know, to do that. Because a lot of people stop at you have to pick it. And if the person doesn't pick it, they won't pick it. That's a job I've done. But if you pick it, you have a better spiritual impact. The person will notice it. It might still be camouflaging and be saying something, but when he's alone, God will minister to him. And that will be the beginning of the change that God will do. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Coming out of the United States and seeing what's happening there about, as we speak about the development and being civilized and being balanced, is that it can't go one way. It has to go together, you know, the receiving and the giving. The matter is that it can cause you debt in America. If you're not polite to someone, you bounce on someone, and you don't even say excuse, it could be a gunshot or somebody stab you. Okay? Rushing off the train, rushing off the bus, somebody can just slit your face. So I just saying about being polite, yes, for real, it happened in America. So unless you're driving your own personal vehicle, you're not in contact with the public, then your life is totally different. But you don't believe in a people of different culture. It's a melting pot for America. People come from Nigeria, whatever, all part of Africa or France, you know, the Caribbean, everywhere. They're there, and they come with the impact of themselves, and they want it to be done the way how they feel. But it doesn't come easy after they make that decision. So from our heart, if we, you know, practice, and if they practice, like for me to go, even somebody rush me, I'm saying I'm sorry, and it's not me. When I heard you say about the stepping on the toe, that I didn't rush them. They say, excuse me. And before you move out of the way, they rush you. So if you are in reaction towards whatever the reaction that they would give to you, you too would commit to, you commit yourself, because, of course, the end result is that choices come with consequences. So being polite is something that we should practice, and it's not about culture, it's about being a human being. Animals, the bull's gonna come out, and they're gonna run, and they're gonna charge you. They're not gonna be asking. The lion come out, the rhinoceros come out, they're animals. But for us who are saying that come into civilization, with a very few that are civilized, and we're talking about transformation, and to maintain that balance, it can develop if we just put all that we are getting here together to go outside and be an example to society. That's my part of that.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, we're going to have like 15 minutes break. Do you want to have a break? Are you happy to have a break? Okay, so let's have 15 minutes break, and we'll come back at 12:15.